Good morning, Ronnie. How are you doing today, sir?
Wonderful. Thank you for asking.
It's such a blessing, Ronnie. And I'm sorry for being so late here, but congratulations on being inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, my friend.
Thank you. I love it. Thank you so much.
Dude, I was a crybaby when I was watching you guys because my entire life is built around what you guys have helped bring to this world.
Thank you. Yeah, I wanted it so bad for the spinners before and us as well.
For you to be in this moment of now, I mean, you have that opportunity to turn around and look at the past, but you've always come across as that group of musicians that are all about let's create music now. Let's just continue doing this. This is what we're called to do.
Exactly, and I hold strong to that because you can't get around it. It's just beautiful music and makes your heart feels good.
Oh, you're so right about that. I mean, one of the things because I was that 14-year-old kid that played like he was a disc jockey in his bedroom. And I always knew where Rubberband Man was because the record label was always that bright red. And that's what I loved about the Spinners. It's almost like part of your marketing plan was to make sure that we could easily identify your records inside a stack.
Yes. That's so wonderful. I remember washing my car and getting in the car and just cruising, listening to the Spinners.
You're so right about. So when you have a song like the Rubberband Man, I mean, to go from that to do. I mean, the way that there are so many different levels of that song, and everything that you guys did was the hook of the song. Everywhere you went, it was a new hook.
Yeah. Everybody went. When we start performing that song, it's like a celebration. Mm-hmm. Everybody's just waiting, standing up and waiting on that song.
Yeah. What was it like for you to hear Casey Kasem talk about your music, such as I'll Be Around? I mean, for him to introduce those songs, that being on the musician side of it, was that a dream or was it just part of the plan?
Yes, it was a dream. It's always a dream. Yes, because it went from him to Dick Clark to all the guys.
AM radio played a real big part in what your celebration of music then.
Yeah. AM radio was a big thing back then. Yeah, it was a big thing. It was a big thing back then because FM wasn't around in a lot of small towns. Mm-hmm. And if it was, a lot of people couldn't get it.
Yeah. Did you have to go through what's called the Pied Pipers of Rock and Roll? It was a book that was about late night disc jockeys that went against their program directors to play music. And I mean, I just feel like that maybe the early days of the Spinners were that way, that where you kind of got into that record playlist with those late night disc jockeys.
I think the music crossed over earlier in the Spinners' careers, so they had to play it because it crossed over. Yeah, it wasn't just straight R&B; it had to cross over. So yeah, they had to play it.
Yeah. So when you do a song like "I'll Be Around," the thing is that the way the flow of it all, could you envision us dancing with you? Because when I would see you on television, it's like, oh my God, they're living these lyrics and the words are coming out with every dance move.
Yeah, being taught, Charlie Atkins, I bring his name up a lot because we do a number of routines. And a lot of our routines are off of the lyrics. So the beat, we're not really like a regular 4/4 kind of stepping. It's off stepping, and it goes with all the lyrics. So yeah, definitely.
So it's part of the storytelling then, because I've always learned through dancing and stuff like that is that dancing is storytelling, and you've added those lyrics to it to enhance that story, which in reality, with a song like I'll Be Around, no wonder it's still stuck in our head.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's for sure.
Jessie, you joined the party. How are you doing today?
Oh, I'm fine. Please forgive my tardiness. Wow, I'm very happy to be here. How you guys doing?
Hey, Jessie.
We're sitting here celebrating the story is what we're doing.
Nice. I hope Ronnie didn't tell all the good ones already.
No, Jesse can tell you even more than me. He knows a lot. Yeah.
I know a little bit more than Ronnie, just a little bit.
Collaborating together and being open and honest, because I grew up in a garage band and we were always at each other, and it was like we wanted to challenge ourselves to become greater, but we would end up breaking up because things didn't go right. How did you keep it together?
We stay focused on the prize. We stay focused on crossing that finish line. Whenever individuals come together, whether it's a garage band or a group of guys starting a corporation, or if you're even starting a club, because you have different personalities and different thoughts and different paths of getting to that same goal. Sometimes there will be a disagreement as to which would be the best route. That's why we vote. Sometimes we'll vote, on what we think we should do, and then we move full steam ahead in that direction. But we stay focused on the goal. If we fall apart, we lose something great here. To be a part of the Spinners' legacy, well, that's something great enough that there's no issue that you can't overcome in order to keep it moving forward. It's bigger than us. That
is so inspiring, because in this modern age where so many bands are in separate studios and they just happen to, on Pro Tools, bringing everything together, that camaraderie, that togetherness inside that studio just isn't there.
It makes a difference in the overall production and what the fans hear and what they feel when they listen to that music. There are some producers you can have, everyone can be in different parts of the world, and send in their parts. And, sometimes you can still make it gel, but nothing tops everyone being together in that creative process and working hand in hand. It makes for a better final product.
I remember buying Could It Be I'm Falling in Love at a JCPenney store. But what I don't know is how you guys discovered the song and really kind of brought that forward for us.
Well, how we discovered it.
In other words, how it entered your souls.
As spinners or as listeners or enjoyers of Spinners music?
As spinners, because every song starts with a thought. And from that thought, everybody else starts joining in.
Yeah, and for the Spinners, those thoughts have come from a wonderful writing team, Thom Bell, Linda Creed, and others who came up with those thoughts. When the Spinners were presented with a song called Rubberband Man, the thought was, what the heck? We don't Rubberband Man. We don't want to sing that song. That was probably the least favorite Spinner song. Until it was released.
Oh, yeah, there we go.
After that, Bobby Smith loved Rubberband Man. So, yeah. So you have to have a team that writes for the group. You to bring out the best in the Spinners. We needed to have writers that could write for us, not just write a hit song that you can give to any group, but something that was tailored for the Spinners and the Spinner sound. So I credit the producers that we've had through the years for doing that.
Ronnie, there's always been an argument in radio that being that you guys are from Detroit, you were Motown, but yet the other jocks would say, no, it is the Philly sound. You need to get your story straight. So what is it? Is it the Philly sound, the Philly soul, or is it Motown?
If I could jump in on that one,
yeah.
If you don't mind, Ronnie. If I could jump in on that. Actually, it's both. The Spinners started in Motown. Before that, Tri-Fi Records, and then the merger and whatnot. But for a time, we were under the Motown umbrella, but not getting any work, not getting much attention. Spinners were actually working at Motown. Purvis was working in the mailroom, and Henry and Bobby were drivers. I think Bobby drove to pick up the Jackson 5 when they arrived at the airport many, many years ago, their first time coming to Motown Studios. But by the time the first song was released, It's a Shame, under Motown, the Spinners were already making their departure per a call from Aretha Franklin, the Queen of Soul, to come over to Atlantic Records, which was in Philly. So as It's a Shame was being released, the Spinners were leaving Motown to head to Philly to record all the other great hits that we know today. And that's where the term Motown Philly comes from. The Spinners beginning at Motown and then going to Philadelphia to continue making even more great hits. So anytime you hear the phrase Motown Philly, That's a phrase that was coined by the Spinners.
Oh my God! Right away, I'm thinking of Motown Philly, the song "Motown Philly back
Motown
again."
Philly back up,
Right.
But down here in the South, where your music has really fit in, is that so many people would turn your music into what we call beach music, so we can shag and we can do those dances. Did you guys embrace that down here in the South?
I had never heard of beach. Well, when you say beach music to me, I'm thinking about the Beach Boys, or songs of that nature. But just found out we were just at the beach conference, and for them, beach music is the same as what we consider old school or Motown or Motown Philly. They just celebrate it in a different way, in a different setting. Yeah, because they call it beach.
Yeah, here in the South, everybody would go to Myrtle Beach and they would listen to R&B music, and then when they would return to the other parts of Carolina, what were you listening to down there? Beach music, because it was everybody was so against R&B, but it's like no, and so but a whole lifestyle to this day continues, but because people embrace beach music here in the South.
Wow.
It's funny you said you mentioned the shag. The first time I heard that phrase was this weekend. Flying to, we had a show in what was it, Jessie, Kansas, or not? Well, it was one of those.
We're in Kansas, Hutchinson, Kansas, and I'm trying to remember.
I think it was Henderson or something, and they talked about the shag as a dance.
Yes,
and I didn't know anything about that.
Oh, it's so beautiful.
Yeah, that was Manhattan, Kansas, and Hutchinson, Kansas. Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, and they talked about the shag.
Yeah, I thought shagging meant something else from that Austin Powers movie. So I'm like, what are they talking about here? What's going on? We're doing a concert. That's it, folks.
Would you say the song "Working My Way Back to You" is a second romance story? And it should be a movie. It really should be a movie.
It's a second chance. It's a second chance story. If you watch the Unsung special featuring the Spinners, we were on an episode many years ago, and you'll hear Claudine Jackson, the wife of Purvis Jackson, tell her story of how Purvis, at the time, during their marriage, for whatever reason, stories I won't tell, there was a separation or rift. So he had to make up to Claudine. So he called her on the road and play that song and say, "I'm working my way back to you, babe." Claudine will reply, "Yeah, okay, whatever." But you have to see that on song. If you get a chance, be sure to check that out and hear Claudine's comments with "Working My Way Back to You."
See, it's stories like this that belong in this modern world because everybody is discovering, the younger generations on iHeart. They'll sit there, they'll put in, like a band's name, but they don't know the story of the band. They know the songs, but they don't know where your journey started and how you grew through it.
Wow, that's true. That's true. Yeah, and for us, the start goes way back to 1954. And stop me if Ronnie's already said this, but 1954, Ferndale, Michigan is when the Spinners first got together. And the original name of the group was the Domingos. That was the first name. And that didn't work out because MCs would always, screw the name up when they would announce the Spinners. They call them the Dominoes, the Placebos, anything but the Domingos. So it was when Bobby saw the wheels spinning on a car one day. He said, "You know what? We'll call ourselves the Spinners," and the rest is history.
Wow. So let's talk about those MCs and those radio disc jockeys. As the Spinners, did you ever get mad that we were always trying to post all the way up to those vocals? We were talking over something that you created?
Well, no. And you're talking to a former radio personality. So I've mastered the art of talking up to the post. And you're good at that when you can hear a song for the very first time.
Yep. And
while it's playing, you can talk. "Hey, how you doing? W so-and-so, great today. More great music coming up right now. Here's the latest from the Spinners." Right as that the first lyric, the first word is sung by the singer. It makes the DJ a part of it meshes the music and the jock that's on the air at that time. It just makes a perfect, it becomes an outfit. You got the pants and now you're putting the jacket with it. You're throwing the shirt in. It just ties it all together. I think that's a wonderful artistry for the announcer to talk over the post, the intro of a song, and then boom, right at that post. Now, there are some songs that are so beautiful and dramatic or what have you in their beginnings that you kind of want to be quiet, you know, on those songs. So, and you have to know the difference. You have to know when to talk and when to shut up and just let the music play in its entirety.
You were talking about the pants and the shirt. I got to ask you about the fashion, because you guys were all about fashion. Do you still have everything? Because I mean, I'll step into my closet with things that I've worn. It's like, oh my God, this is a piece of history because this is what I wore on such and such night. Blah 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 blah.
Mm-hmm. Ronnie.
Oh yeah, I mean that's one thing that the Spinners, we definitely keep that tradition up as far as the uniforms, the suits. I mean that's something that we stride on, and dressing and looking good. Yeah.
Randy Owens of Alabama said that true harmony comes from family. I wanted to argue with him on that, and the reason why is because, I mean, look at what you guys have done with your harmonies, but how did it come together? Do you create them outside the studio, or it's when you're in the studio putting the songs together?
It can happen anywhere. It could happen actually just inside the studio while we're actually there. It can happen in the bus, you know, between trips from one show to another. It can happen anytime. It could be after a show where we're all hanging out together and all. And, oh, well, you know what? That song, I was thinking, here's this note. I mean, there's no set time for that. It's music. It's a vibe. It's a feeling. And it comes when it comes. When it crosses someone's mind, you have to write it down. You have to talk about it at that moment. Sometimes it's not until we get into the studio, but it can be anywhere.
So even on the stage today, are your songs, even though we know them as a certain sound, are they still evolving?
The music that we play from yesteryear?
Absolutely.
Yeah, in some ways it does evolve. The music's already, it's already great music, so it doesn't have to be reinvented, but there are certain accents and things that we do with certain songs that we weren't doing years ago. Like with Rubberband Man, during a certain part of that song, there's a dramatic pause after "Hand Me Down My Walking Cane, Hand Me Down My Hat." The band stops and there's a hit, you know, and sometimes the room goes dark, you know, for like 2-3 seconds, and you just hear the drummers, and the crowd just starts screaming. Then it kicks up, and then we just start moving again. It's like we're robots. It just froze. Something you're not expecting during Rubberband Man, but just a little extra nuance that we've added, and we've done that with quite a few songs, just to keep it interesting for the fans, keep them coming back.
Well, Ronnie, that tells me right there that you guys are truly connected to those fans, that you have a loyalty to those who have supported you.
Yeah, we have to keep the loyalty going because they love. You know, we have a new album out, and it just dropped, but one thing about that is we gotta keep the legacy songs because that's what they know and they love it, you know, and so that's the loyalty that we must keep.
To drop that music, Jessie, I mean, my God, I mean, we're all starving for great sounds, and for you to be a part of this moment, I mean, that really does set up the summer perfectly.
Yeah, it does. And it's really quite I haven't felt such a surreal moment since becoming a spinner years ago. It's incredible now. We have an album that's out, produced by Bernard Grobman, and every song on this album sounds wonderful. And it's kind of, aside from being surreal, there's also a little nervousness, you know, there's a bit of excitement saying, oh my God, I think this is, you know, and I'm calling Ronnie every day. Hey, Ronnie, we've got this many views now. The songs are going, they're listening to it. He's like, yeah, I noticed. I was going to call you first, you know. So this is a very exciting moment right now. So we're very hopeful. We're very expecting more spinner greatness. We're expecting some hits from the current album.
It's got to be freaky for you guys because, I mean, in today's modern analytics, I mean, you know right away who's watching what, how long they're watching it, and what cities are picking up on the thing. I mean, as a musician, I mean, you're like the wizard behind the curtain right now.
Dig it. Yeah. It's there is a bit of wizardry that's involved, but ultimately it's on the fans, and that's why we love them so much. It's because of the fans that we're still performing. it's because of the fans that we can go into the studio and produce yet another album. So we love you, everyone who buys tickets to the shows, everyone who buys our music, even those who just spinner pictures on their wall or what have you, from that concert you attended with us. So thank you very much. We appreciate the ongoing support.
You've got to come back to this show anytime in the future. The door is always going to be open for you too.
We'd be happy to.
Excellent. Well, you guys be brilliant today, okay?
All right,
Thank
you guys
you.
do the same. Thank you so much. To the fans, make sure you pick up the latest Spinner album. It's called Full Circle, and the single's already out. And Ronnie, it's on the 24th. We'll release the full album, correct?
The full album, right?
Yeah. So check it out. We guarantee you're gonna love some songs on this album. You may love the entire album. Pick up your copy today. It's the Spinners Full Circle.
Yes.
Near you.
I love you guys. Thank you so much.
We love you too. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Love you too.